Working is the biggest waste of time ever for most young people in this economy. It's literally worse than just doing nothing. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking you if you have a job. In fact, quite the opposite. I actually have massive respect for anyone who can tolerate today's insanely awful wages and working conditions. This is why I'm actually so passionate about making these videos, to help get out the word that all this shit going on is just not okay. But yes, you heard that right. I believe nothing is a bigger waste of time for young people today than working a traditional 9 to 5 for these soulless companies these days, and that you should prioritize everything else in your life above working. And I'm about to prove it to you with cold, hard facts. Scientific facts, mathematical facts, and statistical facts. Trigger warning. Boomers and corporate shills are about to be offended because they're a bunch of sensitive snowflakes who can't handle the truth. Let's start with the science. Work-related stress is a killer. This is a scientific fact, not my own personal opinion. High cholesterol, high blood pressure, high cortisol, weakened immune system, and the list goes on. We've all seen the very visible signs of these health killers in any of our friends or family when they start a high-stress job. They seemingly age 10 times faster the minute they start working. One of my favorite old sayings is, "A healthy man has 100 dreams, a sick man only has one." What does this actually mean if you break it down? Well, basically, health is the foundation of absolutely everything in life. Whatever other dreams you might have are only possible to even think about if you're healthy enough in the first place. Whether you want to enjoy your youth, make friends, travel the world, find your purpose and passions in life, none of this is possible if you're not healthy enough to experience it in the first place. For this reason, it is the one resource that's far more important than any other. And yes, certainly a lot more valuable than money. So, trading your health in exchange for money just flat out isn't worth it. Now, this issue is exacerbated tenfold when it comes to young men, because we're always the first ones forced into these physically demanding, unhealthy blue-collar jobs. Think about it. What's a major piece of career advice I'm sure a lot of you have heard at this point? Oh, if the economy sucks and a degree is worthless, just go into trades, bro. Be an electrician or plumber or something. So let's explore this a bit. Again, all cold, hard scientific facts here. No subjective personal opinions. Electricians are at an extremely high risk for asbestos exposure. This can lead to asbestosis, a serious lung disease that happens when a person inhales asbestos fibers. This can lead to a whole host of serious health issues, from breathing problems to lung cancer. Welders have to deal with eye damage and inhaling carcinogens from constantly burning metals. HVAC workers and plumbers are exposed to toxic chemicals. There's no job in the trades that doesn't come with severe health consequences. I mean, there's no job at all that doesn't come with severe consequences, but it's especially bad in the trades. I get a lot of flack for saying that for young men these days. Just staying home and playing video games is better than working. To be clear, I'm not saying it's ideal. Ideal case scenario, which everyone would rather do, is to get rich by either becoming a YouTuber or a crypto investor or some other unconventional path and live your best life. But I'm not going to be so out of touch to think that these options are just readily open and available to everyone. And keep in mind, so far we've only talked about the long-term health issues of working. We haven't even discussed all the freak accidents that can randomly happen on the job any day and severely injure or even kill you. Just a few months ago, a poor 19-year-old girl working at Walmart died in an absolutely horrific workplace accident. And I can promise you, the jackass CEOs and bosses don't give a damn. There are some rare instances of hardcore video game addicts playing for 48 hours straight and dying of dehydration/sleep deprivation. But these are insane 1 in a million cases. So long as you maintain a healthy, balanced lifestyle of getting regular exercise, cooking healthy meals, and getting a good night's sleep, gaming can actually be a very healthy form of leisure. When most jobs these days can literally lead to cancer, severe injury, or death, I don't see why it's even a remotely controversial opinion that just Staying home and playing video games is a better option now. These are all facts and science, so if you're offended by the truth, then I don't know what to tell you. Have we gotten so brainwashed by the system that we literally don't even care about our own health and our own lives anymore? Reason number two, working won't even improve your financial situation anymore. So, we all know that working comes with trade-offs. Trade-offs of your health, your time, and your happiness. This isn't anything new, we've always known this. But the reason a lot of people still chose to work in the past was because these trade-offs were exactly that, a trade-off of benefits and detriments. You would trade off your time and your health essentially for money, and all the things that money can buy. A house, a car, vacations, a better life, etc. But here's the thing. With the dogshit wages these jackass employers are paying these days, you won't even get any financial benefit from working, which is the main benefit you're supposed to get for the trade-off of working. We've done the math and crunched the numbers in many previous videos, so I'm not going to go too much into detail about it there, but with how expensive rent, gas, and everything else is these days, not only do you not make any money from working, it's literally gotten to a level where job-related expenses cost more than the job itself pays you. Something we've started calling paying to work. Now, for anyone out there who still wants to shame young people into working, please justify to me using actual facts and logic, not your own personal feelings, why anyone should work when they're not even receiving what's supposed to be the main benefit of working. This would be like going on one of those insane fad diets, where all you can do is eat carrots and drink vegetable soup. And you put yourself through all this insanity with the primary benefit of losing weight in mind. And then you end up actually gaining weight instead of losing weight. Find a way to logically justify the benefits of doing this. You can't. You could make an argument that working was worth it back when we had a better economy. You can't make that argument today. Reason number three, self-worth and dignity. When you present all the logical, scientific, and even financial reasons as to why young people should avoid work at all costs today, the last-ditch weak argument boomers will give to try and shame you into work is,
oh, even if you aren't getting paid anything, you should work for your own self-respect and dignity. There's pride in a good, honest day of work.
once again, let's break this down. I absolutely have the utmost respect for every hardworking person who's trying their best to make it in this economy. The same, however, can't be said for their bosses and employers. Bosses and employers are some of the most toxic and abusive human beings on the planet. It kind of makes sense when you think about it. You kind of have to be a toxic, abusive asshole who steps all over people in order to climb the corporate ladder. It's inherent to the job. Now, on what planet does it help your self-respect and dignity to be chewed out by a narcissistic, toxic, abusive asshole of a boss all day? It actually does the exact opposite. In fact, Gen Z is being criticized as soft because they will stand up to their toxic employers and refuse to put up with this garbage. Again, it's the exact opposite. Standing up for yourself is actually the most courageous and brave thing you can do. Quitting your job will bring you far more self-respect and dignity than working will. If you disagree with this, then I respectfully ask you to consider, what if you were to apply these parameters to any situation outside of work? Let's say you had a child, whether it was a son or a daughter, who was trapped in a toxic and abusive relationship. Would you call them soft for standing up for themselves and refusing to put up with this BS? Wouldn't you be incredibly proud of them for the day they summoned up the courage to leave that abusive relationship? I just don't get the logic that abuse is a bad thing in relationships, but abuse in the workplace is somehow just a normal thing you should put up with. Why? Because we're getting paid $7 an hour? Have we become so brainwashed by the system that we've now decided it's okay to be verbally and psychologically abused for the price of $7 an hour? Another thing that drives me crazy is the whole, oh, you should be grateful because you have it better than anyone in human history narrative. This is actually not even true from a historical, factual standpoint, which I've proven many times before. But even if it were true, what kind of pathetic excuse for abuse is this? Sure, people in the past suffered under brutal working conditions, but the whole point of progress is to improve things. I mean, could you imagine if you had a daughter who was trapped in a verbally abusive relationship and you were to tell her, hey, you're just soft? In the past, some men actually physically beat their wives too. So you should be grateful he's only a verbally abusive asshole. You have it better than anyone in human history. If no one would accept this bullshit in any other context besides work, why the hell should we accept it at our workplace? Just because the guy doing the abuse has a fancy little manager title on his name tag? Conclusion: what should you do instead? We've established now all the reasons why young people are not benefiting from working anymore. But there's still a burning question that remains. What should you do with your life instead? What is the solution? This is obviously going to vary based on your individual circumstances, so I can't give a one-size-fits-all answer. But what I can say is this: do literally anything else. Literally anything you can do to avoid working, do it. The good news for Gen Z is that it's 2024, and in the modern day, there are plenty of ways to make money outside of traditional jobs. Whether it's starting a YouTube channel, entrepreneurship, or starting an online business. If these opportunities are available to you, you should absolutely do them. But I'm aware that it's not possible for everyone, so if that's the case, there's absolutely nothing wrong with just living with your parents till you figure things out either. If you can qualify for welfare, take it and don't feel any shame about it. This economy sucks way too hard to care about any BS principles of bootstraps or whatever. Not to mention, rich people are a million times bigger welfare recipients, and no one cares about that. If you're forced into a situation where you have to work, try to adopt a minimalist lifestyle and save up as much as you can, so that in a few years, you have enough saved up to leave the country. View work as a temporary, necessary evil to save up enough money to quit, and not as a long-term, lifelong solution you're going to be doing for decades. For your physical and mental health, for your self-respect and dignity, and hell, even for your finances at this point, doing literally anything else is better than working these days. Working in 2024 will get you nothing. And in fact, the more you work, the more you just go into debt these days. This is something I call the Gen Z work for nothing paradox. Check out this video right here to learn more.